Well, thank you all for coming and enjoying pizza with us. I'm gonna call to order the finance committee meeting for September 25th, 2024. And would David, would you take minutes for me? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have you had, if anyone, hopefully everyone has had a chance to read through the minutes and I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Any discussion on the minutes? The corrections to the minutes.
Now it's a party.
It says Joanne to look into other deposit funds, is that you or me?
Oh. That's a good question.
The line doesn't count.
I think he meant me.
I'd be happy to check with some other guy
Well, both Joanne.
if you want.
Joanne, do I pronounce your last name for me?
Seashon,
Sean. Thank you.
seashells down by the seashore.
French?
Well, thank you.
Polish.
Oh. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a roll call. We've got one here. All right, we're gonna do it differently this time. Michael Zaslow,
Here.
Suzanne Saramac, Richard Handelsman,
Present.
David Corness,
Present.
Ruth Dries,
Here.
Cookie Cutter. Cookie Courier, sorry. Tony Burrows,
Here.
Paulette Burdick. Laura Bedford. Jerry Sutowski. Stuart Richland,
Yep.
Billy Jensen. Dominic Bernaggio. Patricia Caputo. Here. David Boas.
Here.
I'm here, and Fausto Febro.
Here.
Okay, you've got. We've got 5 committee members, plus this is the one committee where the chair is counted for quorum, so it makes 6 out of 9. So we have a quorum. I always like to be careful of that. So thank you. We do have a quorum. And actually, the only thing I have on the agenda today is to have a final look at the budget that we've been talking about all along. Before we get too down in the weeds, at the operations committee, the operations committee did approve the WPRF budget, which is a reduction of $4.56. So our overall impact to our residents is gonna be under $5 if we combine the two, if you look at it as our both budget. So the budget that we've been working on is an increase from $7. Yeah, ours comes up to $7.43. So I think a lot of hard work went into this, between WPRF and our folks, Mike. And Chris, our outside accountants and bookkeeper, really did a lot of work to help us dig through the weeds and look at things. We have approved the officers and everyone has approved going forward with the reserve study for 2025. So we're going to concentrate in 2025 on really looking at what is it that we own, how much useful life is left to it, like any business would do. It's been 50 years of guesswork that come up with this wonderful reserve. And it is a great testament to everyone that we have this wonderful reserve. So let's make sure that it's correct. Let's have engineers look at things. Let's find out what the real useful life is. Look at these roads. Because to me, that's the biggest issue is the roadways. Everything else we could deal with, the buildings, I mean, they're nice, but they're not anywhere near the irrigation and all of the guts of the village. Let's make sure that our reserve is sufficient. If we need to pump it up, well, we'll deal with that in 2026, so right now, I think we're in very good shape, and I really appreciate that, everything that's gone before. I mean, I got here with a big question mark, and I think a lot of those questions are being answered. So, having said all that, does anybody have anything that they wanna kind of go over with?
Yes,
Yeah,
is this a time or do you have to make a motion first and accept the budget and then a discussion?
if you would like to make a motion so that you can discuss it and then finally.
Okay, I make that motion and then on the, when we discuss, I'll tell you what I would like removed.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I make the motion.
Second.
Okay, okay, and then, okay, now we're in discussion.
Okay.
I would like to remove the AMR contract for this reason. For the number of calls that Snow has announced that amount to an enormous amount of money per call.
Mhm.
And being at the mercy of the red truck,
Mhm.
I don't think it's worth it, and I would like to have it removed.
Would anyone else like to comment on that motion to remove AMR?
Yes,
David?
I just do some loose numbers. First of all, I'm not disagreeing that it's a substantial amount of income. But if we look at $1.50 a month approximately times 12 months, that comes out to $18. Times 10 years, it's $180. The minimum you will get charged for that is $250. So you still are, and after 10 years' time, if you only use it one time, you're still $70 in the plus.
But do you think over 10 years, David, there are 7,000 people that use it?
That's not the issue. The
But-
issue
but
is the people that do have to use it. Can they come up with the $250 all at one time?
Mhm.
And if you have two people living in a unit, the cost for that unit even comes down more. I think it is a complete disservice to our customers. We can't determine when the red truck says you gotta go with us. But this is a nice backup for the transportation that they do give to us.
I'd like to come. Okay.
I'll just first.
You were.
According to people in my building, and I'm sure it's gonna tell you the same thing, when the red truck is called, it's very infrequently that the ambulance takes them away and it's not a dog emergency. They're not having a heart attack, they're not having difficulty breathing, so I'm hearing from a lot of people here, not only my building, but people who come to talk to me that why did the red truck take them to the hospital when they weren't in serious condition? So what's happening is they're taking them anyway and charging them $600. So 6-7 hours.
750.
So in the past, I would have agreed with you, but as of today, I would not. I probably, maybe 100 people, well, Foster will know better, that actually get to go on the ambulance. And I know you say it's not the point, but it is. 100 people out of 13,000 is a very small number. And God forbid if I have to be called and they take me with the red truck, I'll just give it to my insurance company and pay my deductible, because most of us are not going to the hospital frequently, and thank God we haven't been taken. I understand your point, but I agree with you.
I just want to add that I was taken 3 times. Each time I had no choice, I could not have AMR, that was their choice, I was not an emergency. Each time with insurance, it cost me $280. each time. And that's why I'm opposed to it.
Okay, Richard, did you have a comment?
Yeah,
Well, I like. Paul, mention that. How many times has AMR been used? Each year, and what is the relative use of it compared to, say. To any other amenity that we pay for and don't use, the sailboats. There's no amenity that is a money gainer
No.
in Century Village. And although, as David said, the charge is $200.
No,
No.
I'm just saying, if you get a bill, if you use the service from AMR, it comes out to approximately $180 in 10 years' time.
Oh, it's even less than, yeah. Oh, that's
That's going by even
Right,
numbers.
well, what I was asking is if we delete the AMR stipend, how much would a person have to pay?
It would depend on their insurance, I imagine.
At least 250, right?
It would be the minimum.
Yeah.
well, they still have to pay $250.
David,
I understand Ruth's point and Patricia's point, but the point is, you're arguing with the wrong person. What we should be arguing with is the red truck. It's not AMR's fault that they're telling you you have to go with them.
What's the
First of all, with AMR, there is no deductible. Anybody that gets an invoice or a bill is usually a mistake.
Right.
Number one. Number two, 5 or 6 years ago, the county realized that they were losing money. So they made it mandatory that you could not call AMR direct. The phone call is made 911 and the red truck shows up and they determine who takes you. As far over the last 7, 8 years, we went from 400 calls a year. The last number I got was less than 200. The service that they cover has diminished itself. Because they get reimbursed by the insurance companies, or Medicare or Medicaid or whatever. They used to take you from the hospital to a rehab, they would take you to the doctor's office. To if you were in the hospital and you had to go, all those services are gone. So basically, it's a transport for a non-life threatening issue to take you to the hospital, okay? There is no deductible when it comes to there. The red truck, there is a deductible of 200, most insurance companies that I've seen cover everything but $200 or $250, depending on the insurance company that you have. 9 times out of 10, if the individual fills in the back, plays stupid and sends it back, they will wipe that amount off. The red truck, the county, because they got a monopoly on it. The last time I looked, there is no other, the last time was 2 years ago. I spent 2 weeks looking for an alternative to AMR. The only alternative is helicopter service to out of state, okay? They have a monopoly, the county created a monopoly, so nobody's gonna give you the service that we got from AMR. And they have, I guess, the high end of the monopoly of that. So. The other thing is that this was voted in by the delegates. So we, as a committee, we cannot take it out. We can make a suggestion that it be taken out, but it would have to be a motion from the floor to eliminate it. So even though we have our personal feelings, this committee has put it in there, but it's gotta be the delegates that vote it out.
I was just gonna make that comment, it's not like it's a discretionary number on our budget. It's a contract created by the delegates that if the delegates want to vote it out, then certainly, and I think someone indicated they wanted to do that.
Yes,
At the meeting, when the AMR people came here
yes,
and someone asked, well, you're not local, correct? And they
right,
said no.
they're not, yes.
And I think, getting back to what we were talking about, I think the reason probably the truck is taking a lot of people, I just thought about it, is because it's taking too long, because they did say they cannot get here as quickly as they used to. So, I mean, if someone gets hurt, I don't think they wanna sit around 20 minutes waiting for a decision, so.
24 years ago, the AMR trucks used to sit at the medical.
I know, but they don't.
They don't sit there
And it's
anymore.
close by.
And one of the reasons is because the red truck was given the right of first refusal. They're gonna ones that show up first, so they've moved their vans or trucks, ambulances are not local. The major, my understanding, the closest spot that they have is about 20 minutes away.
That's exactly correct, that's what I.
This is what they told us.
That's right.
As far as the last meeting
Well,
that
we
we
can't
had.
do anything about it, so we might as well not discuss it.
No, but everybody should be aware, we did ask for what the current, cause the list that we have is over 1.5 years old. Of what is the current coverages, they did not give us that,
Correct.
and we asked for how many service calls they made to the community over the last 12 months, and we have not gotten that either,
Because it's probably low,
so.
yeah, Mike.
So if this is, just so I have this right, if we pass this here today and then it goes to the floor for a vote for the delegates, if the delegates raise this as an objection, it can be revisited before the budget's finalized?
Sure. I mean, what we have to do is. Well, what the treasurer has to do is present a proposed budget at the October meeting. So this is the proposed budget. Now, the motion that Ruth is making is to approve the proposed budget. And we're in discussion of should we leave it the way it is or take AMR off?
Right.
Am I right? Is that what we're doing?
Right.
Okay.
Mike.
Oh, we
Yes,
can't
sure.
take it off.
Well, we don't have the final word, but it's a
Okay,
chance.
so we're still discussing
Right.
approving the budget.
Right,
We're not discussing specifically AMR, we're
Right.
just,
Right,
It's an emotional issue because of the fact that it's an emergency vehicle that takes people to the hospital. And for those that have used it prior to our discussion and had satisfactory use of it, I think they would object, but bottom line is. AMR is the only service in town and they are arrogant enough not to go ahead and provide us with the information that we wanted, which really has been going on for a while. And that is quite annoying. The bottom line is though, that it's the delegates that will make the final decision and we could give them the budget and then tell them how we think and let them make their own decision, let them make the decision. And we go with it because that's the democratic way.
Bruce,
Yeah, before the delegate meeting, October 4th, paper will be out this weekend.
Mhm.
In there is their whole, whatever you wanna call it, information on what they do and don't do.
Right.
Everybody can read it,
Mhm.
whether it will help on their side or ours,
yeah,
may, but it should be brought up at delegates, all the points that we're talking about. And then if they still want it, well,
that's what it is. Right. Richard,
Just a procedural question. Does the discussion have to go to the executive board this Friday? I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
bring the budget, I mean,
Okay,
the budget, yeah, the budget has to go. And that's.
down the line.
What, oh, so what would, how much would it save if they took it out? How much-
$8 a year.
$139.
But no,
It's a monthly basis, it's like $1.45.
$1.45.
Is it worth it taking it out for $1.45?
to the delegates.
that's up to the delegate.
We've been asking that question for years.
Something for nothing.
So,
The issue becomes, it's like $131,000.
Yeah.
As an overall picture,
Yeah.
which is 11,000 something dollars plus per month, almost $12,000 per month that we could save. On the other hand, it's $1.45, like David said, per unit.
And none of us are getting any younger.
well,
That's true.
Well, this is all part of the discussion. You can analyze it from every different, the big number to the smallest number. Do we really need it? And someday if I needed it and it's not here, who do I blame? It's an emotional issue. And in a society that we have here, there are a lot of people who probably will never use it but still want it. And it's like the buses, how many people use the bus? Not everybody uses the bus, you pay for it anyway.
right,
And you have it and to get rid of it. you'll hear it from those who use it.
But in this case, you're paying for something and you may not get it.
That's
Because you can't
true.
make the decision
Right.
yourself.
The
But-
protocol is you dial 911.
Right.
The red truck shows up
Yes.
now. This procedure was changed about 5 years ago.
Okay.
The county says 911 gets called first. The truck shows up and determines that whether it's life threatening, they make that decision. If it's life threatening, they take it.
Okay.
If it's not life threatening, okay, they may decide to take you anyway, because then they make a call and say, we're a half hour away, we're 25 minutes away. They determine, if they say we'll be here in 15 minutes, then they say, okay, it's non-life threatening. We have Mrs. So-and-so here, you can come and pick her up. But it's all determined by the red truck and the people that are in the red truck.
I just want to add to that, my last trip was in January. I was so life-threatening that they let me lay in the emergency room for 7 hours, doing nothing, because they couldn't get a room.
David,
So, very good discussion. I can see both points, but I recommend at this point, we leave it in the budget, but bring it up at the delegate assembly
Or you have to.
as an option for them to consider.
That's what I'm saying.
Rather than take it out
You have
and then
to.
ask them if, yeah, right. So we leave it in and move forward.
David.
Okay.
I agree with you, David, but the officers cannot make a suggestion. We are not delegates.
Right,
Right.
We're voting on,
Exactly.
everything has to come from the floor.
right.
We know
In
that.
theory, we shouldn't be giving our opinion on anything up there. This is what's been proposed.
Well, I mean, there was
If they
a
ask
comment,
you a question, then you get to answer.
there was the comment last month, because we
Yeah.
presented the budget last month, someone did get up and say, can we get rid of this? And I think that's part of why we're discussing it now. That, you know, now is the time, if you wanna get rid of it, let's get rid of it, but the delegates do that, we don't.
Yeah, the officers' independent opinions aren't going to be discussed at that,
Right.
that time.
All we can give facts.
That's on.
If somebody wants a fact, you can give them a fact,
Right,
what the cost is,
As
what the
long
unit
as
costs.
we only give them facts.
That's what I just said, facts, not opinions,
Right.
okay?
So,
At the delegate assembly, if somebody asks us, well, how much is the actual cost? $1.45 per unit per month,
right.
which is
How many-
$18 a year, okay? Those are the facts.
Right,
okay,
Okay.
that's
so I think we beat that one.
Yes.
Yeah, good job.
Anything else would like to be?
I guess it's not sound down here, did you miss it?
Myself, I gave us all an increase, come on.
Okay, that's fine, 0, 0, 0.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, so. The motion is, do we pass the budget or not?
Yes.
I think you should do a roll call vote.
Are we gonna call for a vote?
I think you should, just to make it official.
Absolutely.
All right.
I would call the committee first. Everybody agree with that?
Always.
I agree, but.
Okay, the
Sometimes,
motion is to pass. All right. Michael Zaslow,
Yes.
Susan Saramac. Richard Handelsman,
Yes.
David Furness,
Yes.
Bruce Dries.
Yes,
Cookie Courier. Tony Burrows,
Yes.
Paulette Burdick is not here, Laura is not here. Jerry Satoski is not here, Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Kelly Jensen's not here, Dominic Bernard is not here, Patricia Capito,
Here.
David Boaz.
Yes.
I, of course, vote yes, and Foster Favreau.
yes, and I like page 5, it says cruise for all the officers. Very nice. Thank you, we're all going, there we go.
We will pass this on to the executive committee and the delegate assembly as proposed, and thank you all, it's been a pleasure. And is there any old business, I mean, I guess this was old business at this point, but other old business than the budget, I'm not sure if there's any, David?
I just want to thank you for your leadership and how this has all come together. I've been very pleasant exercise with the input from from people who wanted to come to meetings and it certainly wasn't easy for you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it's good. I enjoy it. I like to see things come together. I think we're on the right track. We're going in the right direction. Is there any new business, anything that we haven't discussed that anyone would like to bring up? The one thing I would like to talk about, just very, very briefly, is for going forward basis. The next couple of meetings, what I want to do is start to really dig in and look at the reserve study information, try and get a little bit more flesh on those bones. And then I really do want to look at alternative ways to invest money safely. And start getting some opinions from people, you know, they're doing it in other communities, find out who's doing what, and, you know, we'll start looking at making some maybe additional funds. I'm really happy with the money market that we have. It's doing really, really well. But the sands are shifting in the financial world. So, you know, we want to keep our eye on maximizing whatever we can and in the safest possible way. But other than that, we have no other business. I would entertain a motion. To adjourn. Thank you all. This is so pleasant.
And if I'm looking, we got something